The flight attendant's voice was calm, but her words cut like a blade. "Sir, you'll need to move to economy. This seat isn't for you." The cabin went quiet. A single dad in a worn jacket stood frozen in first class, his small daughter gripping his hand like she was afraid the world might take him away. He didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He simply nodded, hiding the familiar shame in his eyes. But as he turned to leave, the pilot stopped walking. His eyes locked onto the man's forearm. And then the entire plane froze. Because etched into that janitor's skin was a Navy SEAL tattoo no man ever forgets. Daniel Carter never imagined he'd be flying first class. Not anymore. Not after life had stripped him down to survival mode. The ticket wasn't his idea. A stranger at the airport had noticed his daughter, Lily, asleep on his shoulder while he mopped the terminal floor during a night shift. The woman had smiled softly and upgraded his seat without saying a word. Daniel tried to refuse, but she insisted. He accepted, not for himself, but because Lily had never flown before. Daniel wore the same jacket he used for work. The one with faded patches and sleeves rolled up just enough to reveal old scars. He sat stiffly in his seat, afraid to touch anything, afraid someone would notice he didn't belong. And they did. Whispers followed him. Eyes judged him. A man in an expensive suit frowned and called over a flight attendant. A quiet conversation happened. Then the words came. "Sir, this section is reserved." Daniel stood immediately. Years of discipline kicked in. No complaints. No explanations. Lily looked up at him, confused. "Daddy, are we in trouble?" "No, sweetheart," he said gently. "We're just moving." That's when the pilot stepped out of the cockpit. Captain Reynolds had flown combat missions over hostile land. He had seen bravery, sacrifice, and brotherhood forged in blood. As he walked down the aisle, his eyes caught something that made his heart stop. A tattoo. Simple. Worn. Faded. A trident. Only earned. Never given. The pilot swallowed hard. His voice came out sharp. "Sir," he said loudly, "what did you serve?" The cabin went dead silent. Daniel hesitated. "Navy," he replied quietly. "SEAL Team 5. Captain Reynolds snapped to attention. And saluted. Gasps rippled through the cabin. The flight attendant froze. The man in the suit looked pale. Lily stared wide-eyed as the pilot knelt in front of her father. "This man," Captain Reynolds said, standing tall, "is the reason many of us are alive today." Daniel tried to wave it off. "Sir, please. I don't want attention." But the pilot wasn't done. He turned to the passengers. Daniel Carter led extraction missions that saved wounded soldiers under fire. He lost teammates. He lost his wife while deployed. And when he came home, he didn't ask for anything. Silence turned heavy. Daniel's voice broke for the first time. "I clean schools now. I work nights. I raise my daughter. That's enough for me." The pilot shook his head. "It shouldn't have to be." The airline manager was called. Apologies poured in. The man in the suit stood and offered his seat, his voice trembling. Daniel declined. Captain Reynolds leaned close. "You're staying right here. And today, your daughter flies knowing her father is a hero." The entire cabin stood. Applause filled the plane. Lily hugged her father tightly. "Daddy, you're a soldier?" Daniel kissed her forehead. "I'm just your dad." As the plane lifted into the sky, something changed, not just for Daniel, but for everyone watching. They learned that heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes they carry mops. Sometimes they ride economy. And sometimes, they're forced out of first class until the world finally sees them. Because respect isn't about where you sit. It's about what you've survived.